Hit it.
Welcome to the all the book. Nope. All right. All right. Here we go. Welcome to episode 266 of the All the Book Show, the official podcast of the David A. Howe Public Library. We talk book news, author news, and literary news, and sometimes dumb news.
Yes. Anyway, I'm Nick Gunning.
I'm Eric Michaels.
And we decided since there's not enough unpleasantness in the world, we're going to talk about banned books. Because it's Banned Books Week, baby. Eric, are you excited about this? This is your annual Eric Has a Rage Aneurysm on the podcast episode. You looking forward to it?
I don't know. Maybe I have rage fatigue from 2020.
Say no more.
You know, I can remember the year 2000 very well, but for some reason I can't remember the year 2010 that well. Do you remember, like, whether or not that was a good year?
Let's see, I'd been married a couple years. I was working at the Houghton College Library. Yeah, I think that was a good year. I was directing plays. I was having a good time, yeah. It was pretty good. What was 2010 in movies?
Iron Man 2.
Oh, well, that's...
Yeah, but also Inception.
Bit of a sophomore slump there. Hey, speaking of movies, Amanda Smith, our coworker, Amanda Smith, filled in for you as a co-host on a Star Wars episode. Amanda Smith texted me over the weekend and said, hey, I just listened to your kindergarten episode, and Eric is completely wrong about Hook. Hook is a good movie. So, that's two.
Right.
That's two saying Hook is good. So,
Hook is a movie I don't even think about until you say the word Hook.
Hook.
Yeah, and
Dustin
even then
Hoffman.
I probably think Pretty Woman before I think Hook.
Robbie Williams.
There's no part of me that every day is like, I need people to know that Hook isn't good.
Right.
It just exists.
Okay.
But
No, I was saying
non-existent in my life.
I was using a familiar name for Robin Williams. I wasn't suggesting the singer Robbie Williams was in Hook because I don't think he was. Though Glenn Close does do a cameo in Hook. So
I believe it.
Okay.
Everybody's in Hook.
Apparently. Yeah. All right. Well,
you know what's funny? I said Hook makes me think Pretty Woman, but Julia Roberts plays Tinkerbell.
That's true. Yeah.
Boy, that movie's all over the place.
Yeah, that's Maggie Smith, who has never looked any different than she did in the movie Hook or today.
She played Nanny?
She did. Yeah, she played Wendy. She played no. She played Wendy like grown up, Grammy Wendy. Yep. Who tries to make out with Peter a little bit. Look, the movie's weird. Okay, it does have its problems. I'm not going to sit here and tell you it's a perfect film because it's not. But anyway, we're not talking about Hook because it would just be a fight. We are going to be talking about banned books, which will also be a fight, but it'll be a fight where we're on the same side, and that's always more pleasant.
I'm pretty emotionally drained. You'll just tell me banned books, and Kendra recently showed me some
your wife,
news.
yes,
or she's reading this book called Bad Blood right now
about Taylor Swift.
About this pharmaceutical company that lied about a product and it's going. And she told me the whole thing, and I just looked at her deadpan. She's like, "How come you're not? Where's all the expression?" I'm not surprised.
It's too much.
I know.
I know.
Oh, what is a pharmaceutical company a bad company?
I hear what you're saying.
2020.
It's a rough time to be alive, but you know what? Let's talk about what we've been reading. Let's look at the bookmarks.
It's good times to be alive. I've been reading I Can't Take It Anymore by everybody.
Huh. Yeah, that's Twitter, basically, is what you're talking about? You've been reading Twitter?
No, I'm almost done. I am almost
with Twitter.
Done with I'm almost done with the fifth book of the Wheel of Time series.
Oh, now, longtime listeners will remember that many moons ago, Eric promised a 50-page a day.
A chapter a day is what I said.
A chapter a day.
Yeah.
Okay.
Confusing me.
All right.
Yeah, I promised a chapter a day. That hasn't kept out.
No.
So.
No, it hasn't.
The thing is, I'm liking this, but this is definitely a series that I've read on breaks before.
Okay.
Where I'm like, okay, I have an hour or 45 minutes.
Yes.
To read this Wheel of Time book. I'm going to read as much as I can, and then I'm going to be jazzed about it. Now when it's just me, I'm like, oh boy, I gotta get through some chapters.
You just keep looking at that page count. Yeah.
Yeah. So I thought because I'm in locked down and all that stuff that this would be the perfect time to read such a book. It actually feels like the opposite time.
Okay.
Because I just don't have the mental energy to commit to I really should have stuck with stuff like what I was reading, the Educated by Tara Westover. kind of in Daisy Jones and the Six, things that I could just digest in like 2 days and then move on. That's what I should have stuck with.
I agree with you.
I'll just wait till next lockdown. Next lockdown I'll live a completely different life.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That sounds fun.
Yeah.
I have not been able to really focus on things that are deep. So it has been, when you look at like your year in review of books you read, this is definitely going to be my most like lowbrow year to date. But I did read some interesting comic books I wanted to mention to you. It is Hispanic Heritage Month, which we'll be talking about a little bit later. We've got some book clubs to coincide with that. But I've been using the comic apps, Marvel and DC, to read some of the Hispanic superheroes that I am familiar with, but just haven't spent a lot of time with. So I read Araña, Heart of the Spider by Fiona K. Avery. This came out in about 2005. The lead character's name is Anya Sofia Corazon. She becomes Spider-Girl, but not in like a bit by a spider sort of way. It's a more mystical kind of approach to the spider powers.
Isn't she? She is part of like the line of characters that were kind of like remakes of characters in senses. Like when we interviewed Fred Van Lente, he was talking about how Marvel did this thing and everybody voted for Scorpion, and so they remade Scorpion.
Right.
But she was like a teenage girl, ninja type character. This is like the same time, I think.
It is. Yeah. So this was collected originally in Amazing Fantasy, and the first 6 issues follow Anya Corazon as Spider-Girl, and then issue 7 picks up with Fred Van Lente's Scorpion.
Right, yeah.
And then Anya is carried over into her own title, which was released. This was back when Marvel was doing a lot of those digest-size comics.
Yeah.
So I read the Amazing Fantasy stuff. Yeah, I liked the character, but this collection was all lead up. Like I
could not tell you a thing about this character. I don't think I've ever seen her in the regular Marvel universe.
I feel like I have had just like vague, like in the more recent Clone Conspiracy arc, she was in that a little bit. But this first volume that I read was all just kind of like, and here's how she becomes Spider-Girl. So it's picked up in her self-titled book, Araña, which I am planning on reading as well. So I read that. I finished the New 52 run of Blue Beetle with Blue Beetle Volume 2, Blue Diamond by Tony Bedard. This follows a character named Jaime Reyes, who is, if you're not familiar with Blue Beetle, he gets this alien scarab backpack thing that is meant to like overtake his personality and just use him as like a vessel. But something in the scarab is damaged, so Jaime is able to control it, but it's still sort of it's kind of an odd couple, buddy cop situation.
Okay.
And I like it. I like the character. This volume was a little like, maybe we'll try this, before it's ultimately canceled and rolled into a new book. But it is picked up again. The series is picked up again in the Rebirth era, which is more modern. So I'll get to that eventually. Have you read any Blue Beetle?
No. A couple of the first issues, maybe when my friend was collecting them back before college.
Okay.
And I remember he appeared, they relaunched like Brave and the Bold in like 2006 or something, and I read like the first couple issues of that, and he was there with Batman. But not too much. I know he was featured in a lot of like the new stuff. Isn't he like a main character in Young Justice, and he was in those
I think so, yeah.
Those newer Teen Titan animated movies?
Shows up Justice League International and stuff. Yeah, he's used pretty regularly. But yeah, it's a good character. I don't think that this series ever quite found its footing before getting axed, so I might go back and read the earlier one, but I'll definitely read the Rebirth stuff that's coming up. Also in graphic novels, I read Gotham High by Maria de la Cruz. This is part of DC's current line of
Gotham High.
Young adult and junior graphic novels with their reimagining. So this is set for an older crowd, a little older than Shea Fontana's Batman Overdrive, and it's cool. It manages a good job of like completely rewriting these characters, but you still kind of get the vibe of what the characters are meant to be. It also adds a little diversity in there. So like Bruce Wayne is Asian American. Selena Kyle is portrayed as Latina. Barbara Gordon and her mother are black characters. So it's nice to have that in there, and works really well with the story. It just feels a little bit more full. So I highly recommend that. I think that was a lot of fun. I think I wouldn't normally toss a lot of these like YA graphic novels over your way with DC stuff, but I think Gotham High you might enjoy.
Maybe. I like Batman stuff.
Yeah. And then I'm going to be picking up some Miles Morales Spider-Man. I'm currently... Did you say what you're currently reading?
Well, yeah, the Wheel of Time.
Just
I was
Wheel of
gonna
Time
say
still.
you're bearing the lead because I'm looking at your Goodreads right now, and you read a certain book by Mel Gilden, book 11 in a series, no less.
I did. Yes. Yep, that's right. As listeners will remember, I do a 90210 podcast over on the Radio Meanwhile Network, and I just finished Graduation Day, which is the penultimate 90210 novelization, written by prolific writer Mel Gilden. Mel wrote a lot
Especially
of Star
here in
Trek.
Germany.
Yeah, wrote a lot of Star Trek, wrote a lot of like junior series. But yeah, this is second to last novelization for that. You can listen to our interview with Mel Gilden back in the All the Books archives at soundcloud.com/allthebooks.
Mm-hmm. So there's only 12 of these books.
There's one more, and the later ones have been impossible to find. The fact that I found
Okay.
this copy of Graduation Day, especially while Interlibrary Loan is closed down, was lucky, because usually they're like $60 or $70, which I will not pay. So
Real? Well, then I guess you're not a real fan.
I guess not. Not. Anyway, thanks for bringing that up.
No problem.
I'm currently reading Crash of Fate by Zoraida Cordova. This is for the book club I do with some friends. This is a Star Wars book. YA Star Wars. And I'm reading Angel Flight by Michael Connelly. I've got Grisham's The Guardians in the wings, so that's upcoming. Anything else? Did you do anything else exciting? You watching any new shows? Anything we should know about?
New shows? Gosh, I don't think so.
Okay.
Hold on, I'm opening up I've been keeping track of it in a Word document now.
Wow, fancy.
I watched The 400 Blows,
Okay.
French New Wave film. Couldn't tell you the directors offhand right now because I don't track that. I also watched this movie called Homicide with like William H. Macy and Joe Montaigne.
Okay.
And Mike Mamet. The writer's name is Mamet. Does that sound familiar to you? Playwright?
David Mamet?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then I
Interesting.
just finished watching The Loveless, starring a very young Willem Dafoe, directed
Wow.
by Catherine Bigelow.
Okay.
So,
I kind of like
overall
that
on the,
recent Van Gogh movie that Willem Dafoe did. Criterion app? Is that what you're...
Yeah, that's what I was
Criterion
going to say.
Channel?
They're on the Criterion
Nice.
Channel.
We just finished watching Criminal UK, which is it was a 3-issue thing or 3-episode thing. First one, they're interrogating David Tennant. The second, Haley Atwell. It's cool. It's interesting. Season 2 is just coming out on Netflix, so we'll probably watch that as well.
You know what's really criminal in the UK?
What?
Rent. I
Ah,
actually don't know what Rent is like in the UK.
I'm not sure either. But I like that you really swung for it there. All right, shall we move into some?
I meant to tell you
Oh, yeah,
this. I
yeah,
also
yeah.
watched Brazil, which is a Terry Gilliam film.
Okay.
It has like a young Robert De Niro. It has a young Jonathan Pryce,
Oh,
the villain of Tomorrow Never Dies.
sure, of course.
I'm not used to seeing him with any color in his hair.
That's true. Yeah.
So I couldn't believe it. I'm like, the man has brown in his
Yeah,
hair.
yeah.
So trippy movie.
He's
Yeah.
relatively young in Evita. I think he at least has gray or brown hair in Evita. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Peron. Do you like Evita? Are you a fan of Evita?
I've never seen Vita.
Not the movie, not even the Madonna movie. Antonio Banderas. Wow.
No.
Okay.
Who directed that?
I don't know.
No, I think in her new biography, she's saying the person was unkind to her.
Oh. Wow, you're following Madonna's
I just
autobiography
saw a
news?
headline. I'm
Okay.
not waiting for Madonna's biography.
Seems
I
like
think
you
we
are.
all know what Madonna has been doing the past 30 years.
Actually, I'm not really sure what
40
she's been
years.
doing since that remake of American Pie. What's
Oh, well,
going on?
She did Die Another Day.
Okay, yeah, that's pretty good.
She fenced against Pierce Brosnan. No,
I
she
remember.
didn't. She stopped a fencing match.
She
with Pierce
did,
Brosnan.
yeah.
Like, hello there.
I mean, this is like going back to
I'm
the
not very
90s.
British.
But I love Beautiful Stranger from Austin Powers, too. Anywho, let's get into some book news.
Okay.
Look into the future to see what it proves. It's time for book news.
This is Latin Heritage Month
It sure is.
on right now.
Mm-hmm.
September. All of September.
Actually, it starts mid-September and goes through mid-October. So I want to say October 15th or so is the last day.
So this is a list of books to read for Latin Heritage Month instead
Okay.
of the New York Times bestsellers list.
Hit it.
New York Times bestsellers list can be found at the New York Times, though you can only read like 5 articles for free.
I
And
know
then,
that really gets you.
then you have to rely on stuff like Twitter, and then everyone yells at you because you're getting your news from Twitter. Mexican Gothic by Sylvia Marino Garcia.
You know what? This has been on my list, and actually, this is the book club. This is the book club pick we're doing for Hispanic Heritage Month.
Ah.
So read with us and come on October 13th. We're going to meet out on the front terrace and maybe have some cider. It should be a good time.
Step into an isolated mansion in the 1950s Mexico with Noemi, who arrives to save her cousin after receiving a frantic letter. This brave and glamorous socialite turned detective takes us on her journey to uncover the treacherous secrets that live between the walls without knowing exactly who to trust.
I'm excited for it. Yeah, it's been on my list since it first came out. Has sort of a like Daphne du Maurier, like Rebecca vibe to it.
Yeah.
Well, I hope anyway. That's what it seems like.
Or Daphne from Frasier.
No, not Daphne from Frasier, but good try.
Love in the Time of
Cholera. Love in the Time of Cholera. Hey, you know what?
Love in the Time of Cholera.
I know we already discussed what we've been reading and watching, but my wife and I watched that Freeform series, Love in the Time of Corona. It was pretty good. I had a good time with it. Anyway, Love in the Time of Cholera by Gabriel Garcia Marquez.
It is Wood, It is Stone by Gabriella Burnham.
I like that cover.
Linda, an anxious and restless American, has moved to Sao Paulo with her husband, Dennis, who has accepted a year-long professorship. As Dennis immerses himself in work, Linda finds herself unmoored and adrift. Linda's unwavering and skilled maid, Marta, has more claim to Linda's home than Linda can fathom. Marta, who is struggling to make sense of a complicated history and its racial tensions, is exasperated by Linda's instability. One day, Linda leaves home with a charismatic artist and ultimately binds Marta and Linda in a profoundly human and tender way.
I should say this article that we're pulling from is put out by Penguin Random House, penguinrandomhouse.com/the-read-down/Hispanic Heritage Month, which we'll link on Twitter. You can find that there.
The Read Down. Before Night Falls by Ronaldo Arenas. Cuban writer Ronaldo Arenas recounts a stunning odyssey from his poverty-stricken childhood in rural Cuba and his adolescence as a rebel fighting for Castro. Through his suppression as a writer, imprisonment as a homosexual, his flight from Cuba via the Mariel boat lift, and the subsequent life and events leading to his death in New York.
Whoa.
A Long Petal of the Sea by Isabel Allende, from the author of The House of the Spirits.
And Zorro. Don't forget she wrote a Zorro book.
Comes this epic novel spanning decades and crossing continents. Follows two young people as they flee the aftermath of the Spanish Civil War in search of a place to call home. We talked about this was on the New York Times bestsellers list.
I believe it was, yes.
For a whole lot.
Yes.
Undocumented by Danielle Padilla Peraleta. Journey from New York City homeless shelter to the top of his Princeton class is essential reading for the debate on immigration, but it is also an unforgettable tale of a passionate young scholar coming of age in two very different worlds. Sanctuary by Paolo Mendoza, co-founder of the Women's March, makes her YA debut in a near-future dystopia where a young girl and her brother must escape xenophobic government to find sanctuary. Okay, so where is the science fiction here?
Dystopian future, they say? Okay.
It's 2032, so
dystopian
we're not far
present?
off.
Okay.
Yeah, and in the near future America, all citizens are chipped and everyone is tracked from buses to grocery stores. It's almost impossible to survive as an undocumented immigrant. It's exactly what 16-year-old Valley is doing. She and her family have carved out a stable, happy life in small-town Vermont. Oh, well, that's a mistake. But when Valley's mother counterfeit ship starts malfunctioning and deportation forces raid their town, they are forced to flee. This was written in September 2020?
Wow.
I guess I thought this was written like 5 years ago.
Yeah.
Like, well, this is quite a jump, I would say. And, yeah. So, 2020, this is coming. All right.
I guess
sure.
so. Yeah.
Dystopian future. You know what? Anything. I don't. 2021 is the most ambiguous year.
That's true.
I've ever seen up ahead. So like, you know.
But maybe that leaves a window for hope.
Gosh, I felt like there was more hope going into Y2K. Even the staunch believers that the Y2K bug was going to happen were still like, yeah, but it won't be that bad. We just won't be able to like get on AOL, right? Man, if we could just go back to the time of AOL. Write me a book, Love in the Time of AOL.
Yeah, that book must exist. It has to exist.
Yeah. I would love to call you, but I've ran out of minutes on my AOL internet account. I have to wait until the cereal box adds another 50 plus. And then I'll be on Instant Messenger in just a second.
Oh, yeah. And then you get kicked off at an inopportune time in the middle of a conversation.
Yeah. You know, I guess
it's a rough time.
Mail is basically the love in
AOL. That's right. So. That's right. Monday, Tuesday,
Wednesday. What's the You Got Mail guy doing these days?
Tom Hanks?
No, The Voice.
Oh, the You've Got Mail guy. I don't know. I think he's married to Siri, I'm pretty sure.
Oh, yeah, him and Siri.
Yeah, I think so. I think they found love. That's another book to read, right?
Yeah. Little Eyes by Samantha Schweblin. The characters in Samantha Schweblin's brilliant new novel Little Eyes reveal the beauty of connection between far-flung souls, but yet they also expose the ugly side of our increasingly linked world. Trusting strangers can lead to unexpected love, playful encounters, and marvelous adventure. But what happens when it can also pave the way to unimaginable terror? Just don't meet strangers.
Yeah.
Or people.
That is scary.
Pass on people.
There's plenty more on this list that you can find at penguinrandomhouse.com/thereaddown/Hispanic Heritage Month. It's a list chosen by Hispanic authors recommending novels of other Hispanic authors. So it's a great list and a great resource, so we'll put that out on Twitter. Shall we move into our main segment, Eric?
Yeah.
You think so?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, I got bad news for you. You're banned.
Oh.
You're banned from this podcast.
Every year.
Don't say it. Don't say a word because you're banned. I'm just kidding. I'm just messing with you. We don't do that here.
Yeah, that's true.
Lots of good resources
We have been asked
yeah, that's true.
book every now and then.
We have, yeah. Bannedbooksweek.org is a good place to get some information, some different programming ideas and resources and everything there. Also, ALA puts out quite a lot on this. I'm going to be pulling primarily from ALA's list of most challenged books of 2019. And they're not going to surprise you, folks. They're not going to surprise you, I'll tell you that much. But yes, you're right. I mean, it's been rare, but we've had a couple of situations where we have had people come in and challenge specific books that we have on the shelf. And again, banned books is sort of like, at this point, a misnomer. Books aren't technically banned. There's no selling this book in this country yet. But they are frequently challenged, and that's what the list is. So when you're saying banned books, you're really saying books that have been challenged by groups or individuals or organizations or whatever. I gotta tell you, Eric, every year we do a banned books book club, and this year we did 1984. It actually meets on the 29th, so come join us on the 29th to talk about 1984. I had never read this book before. Are you familiar with it?
Yeah, I've read it.
Okay. Of course, I've known of it, and I know what it's about, and it added things like the concept of Big Brother. I mean, that's just, everybody knows that now. CBS has a whole franchise based on it, but I had never actually sat down and read the book cover to cover. And I've got to say, it was chilling.
Mm-hmm.
It was pretty chilling. It is not a bleak. I mean, it's a very bleak book. It's not a hopeful book, and it doesn't really give you much. You finish it, and you're just like, huh? Well, everything's terrible.
Mm-hmm.
So, what was the most surprising to me to learn, though, that it was written in 1949?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, doesn't that seem early? Did you know it was 1949? To me, it felt I would have guessed 70s.
Thought it was like a 50s kind of book. I don't know, like what's the presidency where if you were a communist, or if they even
like McCarthyism, that whole era.
Yeah, I thought it was like the McCarthy era.
Yeah, McCarthy was not a president, but yes.
Really?
Yeah, senator.
Yeah.
But actually, you're right on, because the second Red Scare was 40s, through the 50s, so this is right smack dab in the center of that. But, McCarthy wasn't a president.
He was a
I
senator.
don't know anything.
Okay, well, now you knew. You learned.
Yeah.
Yes, it was interesting to read. It was interesting to see what things felt eerily similar to what we're living through right now, and what we're sort of I could see that happening, but it hasn't yet. So it'll make for an interesting discussion, because there are certainly parallels. Doublespeak, I think, would probably be the one that came to my mind the most. It's yep, that's now. But tough book to read, but I'm glad we did. So again, you can join us for the book club. So anyway, I'm pulling this list from ALA.org. You can find a lot of resources there, but this is a list put together by the ALA Office for Intellectual Freedom. They tracked 377 challenges to library, school, and university materials and services in 2019. Of the 566 books that were targeted, this is a list of the most challenged, and the primary reason why they were chosen to be challenged by individuals, organizations.
This year it's basically anything that has any book that deals with
LGBTQIA plus or transgender. Yeah, I mean it is. Yep. All right. Well, let's just do it. Let's just go through the list. George by Alex Gino. ALA cites the reason this was challenged, banned, or restricted and hidden to avoid controversy was for LGBTQIA plus content and a transgender character, because schools and libraries should not, quote, put books in a child's hand that require discussion. Mm-hmm. Yikes. For sexual references and for conflicting with a religious viewpoint and, quote, traditional family structure. These are the reasons, just to be clear, these are the reasons why people are challenging them.
When they put their suggestions in the suggestion box.
Yeah.
That's what they wrote.
We rarely get true challenges to books we have in our collection. I mean, it's happened a handful of times in the 6 years or so that I've been here that we've looked at it and we've talked about it.
Yeah.
And we've
one that was banning a YA book, and the argument was it's a great book, people should read it, but it shouldn't be in the teen section. I'm like, well, it's about teens, it's a YA book, and we keep it in the YA section. Your backhanded compliment is not going to move this book.
Exactly. But we've also had to make some complicated decisions here too about, when we're going through and discarding books, things that are as things change over the years and new understandings we come to, it is always hard to know, like, is this a book that should remain on the shelf just for its historical context, or do you find this in other ways and not have this presented as a thing? So it's nuanced, it certainly is, but to just say, no, this inspires conversation, get this out of here, I think is just weirdly missing the mark. Number 2 on ALA's list is Beyond Magenta, Transgender Teens Speak Out by Susan Culkin. The reasons listed by the ALA: it was challenged for LGBTQIA content for its, quote, effect on any young people who would read it, and for concerns it was sexually explicit and biased. Number 3 on the list here is kind of an odd one, and this was also on the 2018 list that we read last year, A Day in the Life of Marlon Bundo by Jill Twiss, illustrated by E.G. Keller. This straddles a weird line because this is one that was put out by Last Week Tonight with John Oliver, and it's a spoof on a book written by the vice president's wife about their pet rabbit, Marlon Bundo. So to me, this is it's odd to know where to put this because it's written as a children's book, but its slant is much more like adult satire, so it sits in kind of a weird place. But of course, the reasons here would be it's challenged and vandalized for LGBTQIA content and political viewpoints, for concerns that it is, quote, designed to pollute the morals of its readers, and for not including a content warning. Do you want to read this next one?
Sex is a funny word. I always forget that it is until I say it. And then you say it, you just can't stop laughing.
I should have looked ahead. to see what the next one was, so I didn't put you in this position.
Oh my gosh. Alright, I can't say it again because it just...
Sex is a funny word. Oh my gosh. Anything for a laugh in 2020.
Challenge banned, relocated for discussing gender identity and sex education, and for concerns that the title and illustrations were inappropriate.
This is by Corey Silverberg with illustrations by Fiona Smith. Next, we have Prince and Knight by Daniel Hack, illustrated by Steve Lewis. This is a picture book. Its reasons, of course, challenged and restricted for featuring a gay marriage and LGBTQIA plus content, for being a, quote, deliberate attempt to indoctrinate young children with the potential to cause confusion, curiosity, and gender dysphoria, and for conflicting with a religious viewpoint. So again, the book is Prince and Knight by Daniel Hack, illustrated by Steve Lewis, picture book.
Sex is a fun...
No. We covered that one already.
I Am Jazz by Jessica Herthel and Jazz Jennings, for transgender character and for confronting a topic that is sensitive, controversial, and politically charged. Yeah, you don't want to give kids politically charged material. Otherwise, how would we ever teach them not to have a discourse?
Of course.
The Handmaid's Tale is really interesting at number 7.
Yeah.
Because I don't know anyone who even considers it young adult anymore.
The full list, the list here is not necessarily young adult.
No, right, but it used to be, I think, just put in young adult section.
Mm-hmm.
But I think with the show and everything, it's just been it's just moved its way to adult sci-fi fantasy.
Yes, that's where our copy's kept. The reasons here was banned and challenged for profanity and for, quote, vulgarity and sexual overtones.
Drama, written and illustrated by Raina Telgemeier. For concerns that it goes against family values and morals. It's because two boys kiss on stage during a play, and one of the characters is wondering if they are gay or not. So,
Okay.
nice wording there, whoever challenged drama. Oh, here's one that's going to confuse the bigots these days. Here's one where they don't know which
Here he
way
goes.
is up anymore.
Here he goes.
Bring it. I love it.
All right. The Harry Potter series by J.K. Rowling. I feel like at this point, the Harry Potter series is not anyone's favorite at the moment. It seems like... Anyway, the reasons here: it's banned and forbidden from discussion for referring to magic and witchcraft, for containing actual curses and spells, and for characters that use, quote, nefarious means to attain goals. Has this been... I can't remember. Has this been on... I don't think I've seen this one on the list in a good long time.
The whole witchcraft thing was a thing when it was first coming out.
Oh, yeah.
I'm surprised. You know what? This won't be here next year.
The Harry Potter series has not made the top 10 list since 2003.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh,
It was there 2001, 2002, 2003, and not again until this year.
Yeah.
Oh, I remember it being a thing. Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. A lot of stuff happening around Harry Potter author right now. A lot of people wondering how they can. Anyway.
Yeah. Yeah.
I guess it's kind of. I don't know. Well, I feel bad for anybody who's dealing with this issue. As somebody who doesn't give a crap about Harry Potter, I can just sit back and be like,
yeah.
Well, Harry Potter's
well,
dumb.
any time there's somebody that you admire coming out making statements that you don't agree with, that you find, for sure, offensive, is really, it's a difficult, as a consumer of that art, it's really hard to know what to do, For
people on Twitter that, sometimes they don't get there, but I see them on the path, and I'm like, I think we're going to unfollow you for now, so I don't eventually see
it's hard. It is really hard to know. It's hard to know what to do.
Boy.
Finally, And Tango Makes Three by Peter Parnell and Justin Richardson, illustrated by Henry Cole. The reason it was challenged and relocated was for LGBTQIA content, so... It's, this is a very... I don't know. A lot of these books have been on in the past. It is quite different from last year's.
Drama's been there for quite a bit.
Yep, Drama was there last year as well. George was there. Marlon Bundo was there.
13 Reasons Why has dropped off the list.
Yep.
The Hate You Give dropped off the list.
Yep.
It's too late to stop that train now.
Wait, yeah, Drama has a good long run here, so.
Yeah, it's interesting to see what certain people are deciding is the thing we need to ban every year.
Yeah.
It's almost like they're a hive mind.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. This is it's always a challenging topic, how to I don't know. Have you ever had somebody come in, like a really young kid come in and want to check out something that you personally were kind of like, ooh, that seems like a little beyond? Have you ever had that experience?
I mean, I've had that experience with them checking out graphic novels for younger kids.
Yeah.
Like, just so you know, these Batman comics get pretty violent, and they're like, oh, I don't care. I'm like, all right, well then, I tend to think that a kid by themselves has probably more discerning taste than a kid with they're trying to sneak something past their parents.
Yeah, I know I had a kid who came to, when the It movies were coming out, when I was on the kids' desk, somebody came and, young kid, wanted to check out It by Stephen King, which, is
I know who that kid is.
Certainly not a children's book.
Yeah.
And, in my head, as a dad, I was thinking, I probably wouldn't want my son at that age to read this, but, I don't really feel like that's our place to make those decisions. Kids come to the library by
himself with a library card.
Exactly.
He's probably got it more together than a lot of adults.
Yeah, so I just don't really feel it's mine or the library's place to make those kind of decisions. I think that's a call for parents to make, and I sympathize, because it is hard to know. It is hard to know what the line is and what would make for a meaningful discussion versus what would be, detrimental to a kid at any specific age. It's challenging. As a parent, I find that challenging, but I don't think that, trying to ban or have books removed from libraries is the way to approach that. I think that's a very backwards approach to it.
It's very good business for those books.
It is. It is. Well, I feel like, you know, we can't go a year without me mentioning this, but look no farther than the Da Vinci Code. You know, there's a reason why Dan Brown owns like mansions in every country, and it's because people really took issue with the Da Vinci Code.
I'd love to own like one mansion in any other country.
Write the Da Vinci Code then.
Right. Okay.
Get people talking about it.
Did you know that Jonah actually
from the Bible?
Jonah from the Old Testament,
like Jonah and the whale.
Jonah and the whale story. Okay. The whale is actually a metaphor for big pharmaceutical.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't think you can write about that. I challenge this book. Wink, wink. Well, the lists again are, you can find information at bandbooksweek.org, and you can find more at ala.org. But anyway, as I said, every year we do our Banned Books Book Club. We usually do more programming around it, but we're still operating at a reduced capacity here. But you can check any of these books out. Put a hold on them or come to the curbside pickup and grab any of these books. We have them here. And, you know, have some good discussions around them.
It always feels like it's the non-readers banning books.
Yeah.
That's just, I don't know. It's like if Nick here was to ban the Doom games.
Yeah.
Because they scare him.
They do scare me. I'm afraid of them. Yeah.
That's it.
That's a good choice. We haven't even looked at, like, you know, banned comic books and banned video games.
Oh,
I mean, those.
Word. Well, sometimes they come up. I mean, Drama is a young adult graphic
novel. That's true. Yeah.
Persepolis is has Mouse been on the list?
Oh, probably. I mean, I haven't seen that in a while.
Yeah,
but
Mouse, and it's when the graphic novels are geared towards like a teen audience.
Yeah.
That they start coming down in droves.
Yeah. I mean, when you're using graphic novels
to down with like 100 feral hogs. They start coming down the hills like feral hogs.
Yeah, I mean, all the ones you mentioned. I mean, those are using the graphic novel format to teach, you know, really powerful history and lessons to learn from that history to kids and teens through the graphic novel format. Which, to me, I mean, I think that's a great approach because it puts it in a way that's understandable. But
it's important we don't teach empathy anymore.
Yeah, seriously. It's every year. It's a frustrating topic, you know. Yeah. But I think being aware of it, being aware of what's going on, being aware what is being challenged the most, I think is helpful information to have. So there you go. Well, as far as library news, I mentioned some of the things we have coming up here with the book clubs. We're reading 1984. Our next month, early October, we're doing Mexican Gothic, so we'll have copies available. You can either place holds or you can do checkouts down at Curbside. We have a stack of copies there as well. And it's Hispanic Heritage Month, so we've got programming and displays for that as well, so I hope you'll check some of those out. Next week, we have a special interview to tie in with Hispanic Heritage Month. I'm joined by a special guest host, Hillary Gunning, Eric's co-host previously on X-Men, sits in for an interview with illustrator Arletha Martinez, who is... I mean, she's been working for Marvel and DC for 20 years now and has some stories to tell about her experiences, stories that probably won't surprise you but are really interesting to hear nonetheless. So join us for that interview next week. Anything else you want to add, Eric, on this?
I don't know. I've been really grumpy this episode. I mean, because of the topic and because of the year and because of everything.
Right.
What are the past couple things that put you in a real good mood?
Good mood.
Just throw that at me right now.
Okay.
I need some like good mood stuff.
Well, I recently got a Nintendo Switch, and my son and I have been playing a lot of that. We just beat Link's Awakening, the
remake.
The first Zelda game I've ever played. We are currently playing through Yoshi's Crafted World, which I'm loving. Mm-hmm. Haven't played a Yoshi game like that probably since 64 with Yoshi's Story. So that's been really fun, really pleasant. What about you? Anything cheering you up lately?
Yoshi's Crafted World. He's still kind of like in yarn mode.
Yeah.
Gosh, I have done something fun recently.
Okay, hit me.
Maybe I haven't. No, I can't come up with anything.
Nothing?
Oh boy, yeah, this is
You gotta come up with something. What about dog walking?
Yeah, I've been walking dogs. That's been nice, which means I've been listening to podcasts again, which has been fun.
Yeah.
I'm trying to catch up to 902.1 Here We Go.
Yes.
Which is good. Really, really hoping Brenda and Dylan are donezo for good. So.
Well, you know, you're mentioning podcasts. Doing podcasts, I feel like, has been sort of a bright light for this last several months because we already mentioned 902 and Here We Go, which I do weekly, and then you and I, outside of this show, we have a YouTube show where we talk about comic books. Those are among my favorite times of the week.
Yeah, those are fun. doing Radio 64 is a mixed bag of fun. Like I have fun picking the songs and I have fun picking the cover art for the videos, but like recording it doing it solo is frustrating. But doing the 90s podcast with Kendra, my wife and I started doing 90s Music's Got Us Like, where we look at a 90s song every episode. That's been fun. It's just fun to do that podcast with her, but also doing it about 90s music. Yeah. So, having like, I don't know, like 20-minute long discussions about Waterfalls and Kiss from a Rose and Two Princes. That's been a lot of fun. And people have like talked to us about it.
Nice.
Kendra's brother has been in it.
Nice.
I guess, which has also been nice.
We should mention too, some of these air locally. The All the Book Show you could listen to on the Angelica radio station every Wednesday night at 9 o'clock, and Radio 64 airs every Monday at 6 o'clock. So
here, this
you
is
can tune in that way.
Because this put me in a good mood.
Give me one more
Wednesday.
good mood thing.
I have to get the name of it though.
Well, while you're looking for that, I'll tell you, we've been rewatching Smallville. We just watched episode 200. One of my favorite episodes for the whole series. Very nostalgic, very fun. That was definitely a bright spot. All right, so give me one more ray of sunshine before we lock this up.
So on Twitch, twitch.tv/thecollectorsrpg, I play on their Wednesday night sessions. It's kind of this homebrew, made from scratch world that Crystal Storm, who you can find on Twitter under Crystal Storm, has created. So it's this world I don't know anything about, but I'm trying to play like this John Constantine techie character.
Ooh.
But he's gone off. I don't even know anymore because we're in this world he doesn't understand. Anyway, I have been trying to rein in my chaos elements as a player in these games, and I couldn't last week. Last time I almost basically got killed by somebody who believes themselves to be the biblical Michael.
Wow.
Angel, like the
John Travolta movie.
Yeah, like John Travolta. That's what I told them.
Nice.
Anyway, it was a session where like I made a lot of people gasp because of how snarky I was to said angel, and then like I couldn't even contain my laughter. So that was a good night of picking fights with very powerful people who could have wrecked me very quickly.
Wow. Yeah. So escaping into an alternate reality is more pleasant.
Boy, if there was a portal, and, like, and somebody at the door was just like, "Wait, before you jump in, if you go through, you'll never be able to return." Before they finish their sentence, I'd be on the other side. Yeah. I'd be like, "Hello, weird alien race."
And Eric was never seen again.
Yeah. Yeah, would you if you jump through a Stargate, what universe are you hoping you land in? Because I wouldn't want to land in a Farscape universe as much as I like the show Farscape.
Yes. Okay. Could I go to like a Mario type world? Just be running around jumping on Shy Guys and stuff?
You want to jump through a portal and you're now going to spend the rest of your life in the Mushroom Kingdom?
I mean, maybe not the rest of my life. Could I just do a vacation or something?
Yeah, maybe like a Mario Sunshine situation.
Yes, which is out on the Switch now.
Yeah.
I'm debating getting, because I know I do, but the controls might be a little bit better that way. I've always wanted to play it.
They haven't really remastered anything. It's just kind of like
just like a port.
It. Yeah, I think I think actually people are saying its controls a little wonkier because you don't have the GameCube controller.
Oh yeah.
So
that's a bummer.
Maybe you'd have even more of an unpleasant.
Well, now you're bringing me down again after this goodwill you did to get us excited again.
Hey, Bob Hoskins was 51 years old when he played Mario.
Wow.
In the movie.
So it can happen to you still, Eric. You could still play Mario.
Yeah,
I
got 20 more years to perfect the role.
Well, this is okay.
It's me, I'm Mario.
That's pretty good.
He's the Bowser, don't you? I fell on the board.
That's pretty good.
Well, I don't. Harry Potter.
I've been checking out Switch games right here from our own collection, so that's another thing you could do if you're looking for a good time. We've got Switch, we've got Nintendo DS, we got PS4, we got Xbox. So come in and check out games. Most of them are down at curbside, so check that out.
DS is done. Nintendo has
I heard
canceled,
that.
I guess like the 2DS has been, but now the 3DS. So now they're 100% all in on the Switch all the time.
Okay.
But yeah, there were plenty of games there for both consoles, I think.
I'm hoping they port over Yoshi's Woolly World. Because
is that how you played Link's Awakening?
What?
You rented it from the library?
I did, yeah. That's how I'm playing. That's the only game I bought is Ultimate Alliance. Everything else I've just checked out from the library, so pretty good time. Yep. All right, well, again, not to bring it down, but it's Banned Book Week, so Go out and read a banned book. Again, you can find things at ala.org. You can find things at bannedbooksweek.org. You can revisit our old banned books episodes at soundcloud.com/allthebooks. And you know what? While you're on your podcast app, go ahead and give us a rating and review. It helps people find the podcast. That's good.
I just rated and reviewed 9021 Here We Go.
Ooh, I'll have to go look at that. It better not be a 1-star.
It was definitely a 1-star. I said something about how you seem really naive.
Oh.
Hey, Andrew just seems way more in the know about the show than the apparent expert.
Yeah. Huh.
So.
That's mean-spirited. All right, well, you can join us next week as we sit down and chat with Aletha Martinez about her long history as an illustrator and artist for Marvel, DC, Archie, and more. And we'll see you then.
Bye.